Morning Show. It's the Madman Morning Show. It's the Madman Morning Show. It's the Madman Morning Show. Sitting at home or you in your car. It's the Madman Morning Show. No matter if you get far. It's the Madman Morning Show. You better tune in quick or you might just miss. It's the Madman Morning Show. The best show this side of the sea. It's the Madman Morning Show. 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 Sitting at home or you in your car. It's the Madman Morning Show. No matter if you get far. It's the Madman Morning Show. You better tune in quick or you might just miss. It's the Madman Morning Show. The best show this side of the sea. It's the Madman Morning Show. 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 It's the Madman Morning Show.
And good morning to everyone. Good morning. Good Thursday morning, 17th of October. It is cold where I am. It is cold. It's cold this morning. I keep complaining. I'm not complaining. You know, it takes you a minute to get your body adjusted and you have to get yourself prepared for it. But that's what's happening. Good morning to everybody, everyone. Uh, I hope that you had a wonderful rest on last night. This is WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. This is the Magman Morning Show. Yes, I am James Mack. Good Thursday to all of you. Also, we like to say good morning to our chief correspondent and one that does work well. You're going to love these stories that we have on today. The wonderful chief correspondent of the Magman Morning Show. I said what I said. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning, James, and good morning to everyone else.
Okay. As you know, Brother Lee, he will be making his arrival shortly. I I'm not laughing about yesterday, but it was really interesting. And Brother Lee, you got some explaining to do amongst your peers. And we're gonna y'all be nice now. Y'all be nice and everything. Be nice. I said what I said. Be very nice. That's your partner. Supposed to be nice. Ain't that right? Good morning to all of you. Good morning. Good morning. Am I right or wrong now? Miss, I said what I said. I didn't hear you. You didn't respond.
Well, you were still talking, so I just.
Okay. Okay, good morning to everyone that's listening to WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. Thank you for listening, whether you're in your cars, your places of business, or wherever you may be. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your day every day on WKRA each weekday morning at 9 o'clock. We'd like to say good morning to our YouTube audience. Thank you to everyone saying good morning to you. Great Thursday, Grand Rising, all those great things to those wonderful people that join us each and every morning. And those that are in the bushes, those that are new, that don't want to say hello or anything like that, that's okay. We welcome you also. Listen, let me get this out of the way because I want to get to some of these stories that we have. It's interesting also, before I get to the weather, that as we're almost, I guess it's, 20 days until, I don't know why I had the hiccups, 20 days until the election, we got some very important announcements that we're going to be making on this morning, and we have some interesting stories that we do have. Listen, folks, it's cold. It was cold last night and it's cold this morning. They letting everybody know that within this region that we are in a cold snap. We're going to be feeling this widespread most of today. We'll try to get into the 60s, they're saying, but we'll be in the upper 50s. We know that by noon, we should be, according to the forecast. So those of you all get your valuable plants, those plant not just valuable, but those delicate plants that you have that cannot sustain the cold. They're advising you, please take your plants and make them safe, or how you do them. I have no idea. I, I have a terrible green thumb, but please protect your plants. Please protect your animals or your pets. Please allow them to be able to come in and out and so forth. The cold can hurt as well as the heat, so you got to watch them. That's what they're telling me. So, but right now, it is, believe it or not, 39 degrees. Ooh, ooh, it's cold. 39 degrees in uh, Como, and it is 40 in South Haven and in Olive Branch, and it's 40 degrees holding steady at WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial in Holly Springs, Mississippi, saying good morning to all of that wonderful staff, our president and CEO also. Good morning to all of you all. And yes, y'all don't want folks to come out the bushes. We had a real interesting broadcast, and it's just good to be able to share your thoughts and to be able to express yourself. And I think that that's what people should do, no matter what. You can't find out what's on a person's heart if you never give them an opportunity. uh, it may sound strange, some of the thinking. Everybody doesn't think like we do, so I think we understand where we're going. Listen, I was looking at some particular interesting stories that I'd like to lead off with. Our chief correspondent brought a lot of things to my attention that I really believe that needs to be said and to need to be put out there. And we're going to start. I don't know if you'd like to start off, if there's a particular place that you would like to start off. Uh, I said what I said. Is there any place in particular you would like to start? I can start anywhere.
No, go ahead and start wherever you want to.
Okay, we're going to talk about, first of all, you know how important it is that we, as we look at the crime rate and we look at uh, the incarceration rates that are going on. There are some private prisons. There are even private prisons within this region that we're in the WKRA region. There are private prisons ran by corporations that take prisoners from other places, from various parts of the country, and they are under a contract with the state. They're the contractors. They got a facility, they provide the personnel, they just have to abide by the policies there. But we got a story that was brought to my attention, and we're going to talk about it on the other side. We're going to talk about the complaints at these private institutions. Let's look at this right quick. And those of you that listen on WKRA, you can't hear the audio, but I know you will get the replay on YouTube. Here we go, folks.
He's a great kid. He's quiet, but very funny. After a few years, they started putting him in cells with really violent individuals, and they were threatening his life.
Violence at Trousdale Turner reportedly has been endemic since it opened in 2016. Recent reported incidents of violence include stabbings of 5 people within a 3-week span in early 2024.
They put him back in isolation. For this time, it was for 3 or 4 days. Then he got out. He was getting threatened again. They put him back for 3 months. It just kept getting longer and longer. His fingernails were 2.5, 3 inches long, every one of them. He was filthy. His clothes were torn. He was hallucinating.
And a little while later, I came out of the med room and I saw him having seizures. I knew he was breathing irregularly and all of his symptoms and signs were real. But she insisted that he was faking it. I think that the most significant thing that I saw was the medical neglect. I mean, I saw prisoners with open, gaping wounds on their body, and I would, sign on as a witness that they were unable to get medical care because that's all I could do.
Again, it was an open secret, and yet the state of Tennessee inexplicably failed to do anything. So that's when people began to reach out, I think, and ask the department to step in.
That's
We want something done. We want somebody to be accountable for these deaths and these minds and these people that they are ruining. They did a crime, and they are supposed to serve their time, but it does not mean they have to lose their entire mind or their life for what they did.
For those of you that did not see, let me make an adjustment. For those of you that did not see the visual, there was a horrendous picture of this young man, and it's like a before and after. This young man looks like he was headed towards the military of some kind, got into some trouble. I don't know specifically what trouble he got into, but the overall complaint that they were making was the conditions of these private institutions that are being ran. They are private institutions. Some of these institutions are on the New York Stock Exchange and on stock exchanges looking for investors to actually build these facilities. So, if they're building the facilities, you got to fill those facilities. And for centuries and for years and years and years, as we've known anything about prison system, black people have been the persons that have overwhelmingly been incarcerated. And why is that reason? And we'll get to that part, but I just wanted to ask you, I said what I said, I brought it to, as we brought it to the forefront, that this is real troubling.
Yeah, it is. And unfortunately, it's going on all across America, not just in Tennessee. Any of those private owned prisons, they just do what they want to do. And, they don't care about the customers that they serve. They just care about the money that they're going to get and their investors. And so it seems like since the prisons became privatized, they've become worse over the years, in my opinion. And it's really a sad tragedy that this young man and the other 4 young men, or, just men, period, had to lose their lives over nothing. And he didn't appear that he had any mental illness, but once he got in there, he became a whole totally different person. And so something is wrong with that picture. And yeah, the federal government definitely needs to step in, and the Attorney General of Tennessee.
Yes. The Attorney General of Tennessee is not really pursuing any kind of investigations as far as I know. And that piece came from the Associated Press. We want to thank the Associated Press for that news feed that they provide for us from time to time. But it was just, there are some horrific things that are going on in these settings. A lot of mental illness. There are a lot of people that are being put away instead of in institutions to try to help them or to get them balance of some kind. They're putting them in county jails. They're putting them in anywhere that they can fit them. And you have these problems. If you got problems in those institutions, you've mixed people with criminal backgrounds, some that are not. There are some people that are innocent, but then there's a vast majority of people that you see that they have been in there before and they're in the system, and you mix them in with people that have mental illnesses or something that's going on. It's going to cause a problem. And I mean, if you really look at the states, especially in the southern states, there's a prominent institution called Parchman in Mississippi. The reason that people fear that place is not because of just going to the institution and you're locked in there. They're going in there because of the horrific conditions that were inside those facilities. And I mean, you know, it's really terrible. And people from other jurisdictions that surround Parchman or in the area refuse to even come over the state lines because they're afraid that if you do something wrong, I mean, you're going to face the music. But I mean, they have that fear because if they have, like, say, for instance, in Memphis, if the crime or the person that they're chasing somebody over, and you come up to the Mississippi state line, they literally, I've seen it on video on news feeds, they turn around and go right back towards Memphis and Shelby County, because they know that once they cross that I-55 line, you're in trouble. The sheriff's department, they got helicopters, they got everything up, and they waiting for you to come over there, and you're not going to come out of there. And your chances of getting convicted are really, really at a 90% kind of rate in this county where people are. So I'm not saying that to say that people that have committed crimes should be treated like heathens or anything, or they should be treated inhumanely. But I mean, that's terrible that you do that. You got to treat people with human. You locked them up, so you're in charge of them. So I was just expressing that. We'd like to welcome Brother Lee. He's here, and we'd like to welcome you this morning, Brother Lee. And the chat, y'all say good morning to Brother Lee. Brother Lee, good morning. I said what I said. Your partner is here. Isn't that beautiful? That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. You didn't say anything else, but that's all right. Y'all quiet today. Everybody's in the bushes. Well, let me say this before we go to our break. We're going to go to another interesting clip that we're going to be discussing, and I'm just going to do it on the other side and go ahead and take our first break. You're listening to the MacMan Morning Show. This is WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. We got a wonderful show ahead. We're asking that you just stick around. We got a couple of more stories that we're going to talk about, and then there's something that relates to our topic, the reason for Project 2025. Listen, folks, there are people of other persuasions, people that do not look like me, that have sense enough to know what's going on. And I want you to hear from a Mississippi man, and you're going to be surprised at what he's going to say that's going to lead off our main discussion. Once again, you're listening to the MacMan Morning Show on WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial.
Left, right, left, left, right, left. Your mama, your daddy, they vote. They vote. Your sister, your brother, they vote. They vote. Your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, they need to get out and vote. Vote. Your mama, your daddy, they vote. They vote. Your sister, your brother, they vote. They vote. Your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, they need to get out and vote. Vote.
This is a call to all Americans. On November 5th, 2024, you have a chance to be heard. Make your voice known. Vote. It's your turn. If your locks ain't right and your twist is on limp, you know. Get over to Keisha Studio. Specialized in locks, natural hair, and extensions. When your hair needs that special attention, make Keisha Studios your next decision. Located 3964 Goodman Road E, Suite 122 in South Haven, Mississippi. Call 901-650-9487 for your appointment at Keisha Studios. You know.
America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back.
I don't know about you, but I'm not going back. If you're not going back, vote Diane Black. Again, if you're not going back, vote Diane Black for U.S. Representative, 1st Congressional District of Mississippi. November 5th, 2024. Vote Diane Black.
Paid for by friends of Diane Black.
And we're back on WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. This is the MacMan Morning Show. I'd like to say good morning to each and every one of you that have joined us. I have two brief, quick announcements that I need to make. Listen, the time is near. It's 20 days out, and we need to continue to push and continue to support Diane Black for U.S. Representative for Congress for the Congressional District number 1 here in the state of Mississippi. Now, time to vote. Listen, November the 5th, you all are voting right now by absentee. If you cannot make it to the poll, please get to your various places for absentee voting. Usually it's your county courthouse at your county seat. You go down there where you get your tags and everything. I think you can vote at most of those places. I don't know. Call first and find out where you can absentee vote, where you can early vote. Their early voting is going on right now around the country. And the version of early voting for the state of Mississippi is absentee voting if you know that you cannot get to your various polling places. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later, but I wanted to put that out there for everyone to see. Remember also that we have coming on tomorrow is we're going to have the wonderful big exclusive interview with the wonderful trustee over in the village of Dalton, Kiana Belcher. She's going to be our special guest on tomorrow's show. We're asking that you please tune in, share this with share this with others, that they will know that she's coming on. We just wanted to let you know that we have a special recognition that I like to give to one of our wonderful listeners and viewers that started with the show when I just started out and was just never came out, never said anything terrible or anything like that. Always there to support us and supported us on the, in the chat and supporting with her viewer and listenership here on the MacMan Morning Show. We just wanted to say happy birthday to Alice, blessed child of God, who has a birthday today. We said we were going to recognize you, and we want to give you God's blessing and God's speed and we're just grateful for you having another year, as they say, around the moon, around the sun. I don't know how that goes. They say, you made another leap. Now you have another chapter. And we just wanted to say happy birthday to you. And thank you for supporting the MacMan Morning Show each and every day. We really appreciate you. I would sing, but I might, the FCC might cut me off, and they might ban me and say I can't broadcast no more, so I won't sing or nothing like that. So I wanted to let you all know that we were, there's some serious things that are going on in the penal system, as we were talking just briefly about the conditions in these places, these private places of incarceration. and there's just some serious problems everywhere, folks. I wanted to get the reaction, Brother Lee, with the penal system that's happening now, and I think you were just miking up and everything when we were playing the first clip that we had about the conditions inside of penal institutions. There's some people that are being really neglected. They're not getting their medical care, and they just seem like they just put people in the corner and just leave them there. One gentleman that they were featuring had matted hair. This was Matt. I'm not talking about people that have actual whatever the styles that they have, but you can see that this young man was being neglected. I just wanted to get some feedback. I got feedback from I said what I said. I just want to just some general background about what's going on in these private prisons or in prisons, period. That most of us are there, and it's been like that since they had prison systems and put us on the chain gang and all those other things. Could you just elaborate just a little bit?
Well, great day to everyone. First, I'd like to say that, and I'd get into the situations. These prisons, some of these prisons increasingly are privatizing, and that means that they make a profit. And the government has privatized them because they don't want the drama of managing these facilities. They want to leave it up to private business. It's a business now. And when you were talking about the gentleman that was neglected in the way his appearance, his hair, maybe his hygiene, it could be a form of punishment. They punish them in a way. They have their methods. No showers. No. You have to be in your cell 24 hours a day instead of having exercise and stuff like that. Keep you isolated. It's a form of punishment. Sometimes it's just the fact that when you have these prisons, they don't have enough personnel to do the proper job to monitor these prisons, so they keep them in the cells. And I've said before, these conditions would probably, it's possible that these situations would change if people who are incarcerated was given the right to vote. When you take away your freedom, but then you take away your right to vote, that those two don't go together. And they've been going together since incarceration by the government. And we look the other way because we say, well, they lose all their rights. No, they don't lose the right to being a human being. And see, we say we are Christians or people of God, but you take away their right to be a human being because they may or may not have committed a crime. Because you're incarcerated, that doesn't mean that you committed a crime. That just means you were convicted of a crime. Conviction and actually guilt is not the same thing. And people need to look at, they got to pull the layers back. Come on, let's not be ignorant about this. A conviction is not a guilt. You know, just because a court convicted you of a crime, that doesn't mean that you did the crime. And we look the other way on that. And that's part of the problem too. We say, oh, they're incarcerated, they must be guilty, they should be treated less than human. And we created this problem. Every one of us created this problem because we look the other way. That's what I have to say.
Well, it is very interesting how and your views are true, because we look at this and we see this. And there's people that I know. There's somebody that we know that has been in the penal institution, and it is no fun for those persons. We love our loved ones, so forth and so on, guilty or not. But you don't expect there's some horrific things that are going on in these systems. Like Brother Lee was saying, it could be staffing, management. There's not a lot of people. I've seen people that they've hired for correctional officers look like they're in 8th grade or something. Little children, little. I'm serious. I'm freshmen in high school or something, and these are grown individuals. How are you going to handle this? Look at what they're putting up against. What if a riot starts or something? You got a little belt, and you can't be friendly with them people. You don't know what you're walking into. So we really got to see. There's some questions that I'd even like to ask the administration. The Department of Justice is on this. And my hat's off to the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, who has taken up the mantle on this and have taken the lead on investigating these private prisons. You'd be surprised. The rich are getting richer. They don't care what it is. They'll invest in anything instead of investing in something that will help or maybe rehabilitate. They would rather build private prisons, make sure that they are that they're well occupied. So you got to put people in there. So why are they building them at alarming rates? They're building them. So we're going to be on top of that story. There's another piece that I wanted to bring up that our wonderful chief correspondent had brought to my attention right now. We're going to look at this and then we'll come back on the other side. This was really interesting to me. Let me show you what the criminal justice system is doing.
The North Carolina judge who presided over the 1996 murder trial of Michael Jordan's father petitioned the state's parole commission to release the man he sentenced to life in prison. That judge says a forensic investigator failed to share a key finding in the case against Daniel Green. Apparently, a blood-like substance inside the car where James Jordan was killed might not have been Green's blood at all. The commission is expected to deliberate for at least 1 month before making a decision.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to
Now, those of you that are Bulls fans, I'm talking about the 90s, the wonderful 90s when the Bulls won the championship the second time. The first time you saw the great celebrations all over Michael Jordan and the squad. I call them Scottie Pippen and B.J. Armstrong, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman. God help us, Dennis Rodman caused a lot of trouble. But the thing that really surprised the nation was when the horrific finding of Michael Jordan's father being unalived. And it was outrage. The fans were outraged because people liked Michael. He was cool. But there were some underlying things that may have occurred that may have led to it. Some say gambling. Some say, they'll say that it was other factors that were involved in his demise. But then they found these two gentlemen, and out of one of the two gentlemen, Mr. Daniel Green, was convicted based upon the blood evidence that was there. And there were some other factors that they were his defense team was trying to bring to the attention, but this judge did not allow it. Now here we are now. The judge in the case that convicted the young man, Mr. Green, has come back and petitioned to the governor, to the board of pardon, whatever the case may be, or whoever the authorities are, and saying, this I did wrong. I'm the judge. I was wrong. That meant that blood evidence at least open up the case and find out whether the blood evidence that this young man was convicted on is his blood. Now, we got technology. We got a lot of things that we use to our disposal that will give us the accurate test results. You can have a mummy in the graveyard or something, and you can still get from the hair, you can get various DNA readings from old hair and tissues or whatever the case may be. You can get DNA testing of it to see what's what and who's who. And this blood was not this young man's blood. No telling what they did with the evidence or anything. Brother Lee, I was just going to ask you, or I said what I said, I was going to ask you, this is really a diabolical thing for people to see. I said what I said, that this young man may be innocent. He may have, I mean, this is something horrific. You knew who his father was. People knew who he was. He was a public figure. Unless these kids just did not know who he was. I had questions about the case, but bringing up this new evidence, I said what I said, Brother Lee. I wanted to see what your thoughts is, especially because we usually, these are some people that we know. I mean, Michael Jordan, who doesn't know Michael Jordan and his history and so forth. So, could y'all comment on that? I wanted to know.
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Either one.
Okay. Well, I just say sometimes they just want to win. They don't care if the person is innocent or guilty. And if they can get a jury to convict you, then, that's what they go with. And at the time that they convicted this guy, they did have technology where they could check it. But, they're so used to doing what they want to do. So sometimes it don't really matter. They just do what they want to. And if they can get you convicted, then, okay, that's what it's going to be. And it's just a stark reminder of how our criminal justice systems need reform, how we need to stop giving these DAs so much power, and even sometimes in some instances the judge, because they can be wrong too. But I commend the judge for coming back and saying that he made a mistake, because that's very rare that they'll come back and say something like that. So it must have been on his mind, that he made that mistake. And I guess his conscience got to him and he decided to try to rectify the problem. But a lot of times once they convict you, it's very hard for them to, to let you free. And so, unfortunately, this guy's going to have to suffer and continue to suffer until whoever's in charge decide to look into the case and reopen it, if they even do that.
Yeah. Brother Lee, the blood ain't mine. Brother Lee, I didn't harm that person or unalive that person. I'm telling you, this is what it is. And the judge is sitting there knowing this evidence. How long has this been? This has been, God, over 30 years, I'm sure, that well over 30 years should be, that his father was unalive. And all of a sudden, here's the judge now. This is the judge coming to you saying, listen, there's a mistake of miscarriage of justice here. What do you have to say about that, Brother Lee?
Well, I would say this. Yeah, it is sad that, it's about convictions rather than justice. And when you're on trial for your freedom, and it's not for, it's, it used to be where if you unalive someone and you're on trial for your life, but you're on trial for your freedom, which is just as serious as taking somebody out of.
We had lost Lee. Wait a minute, he's back. Hold on. Come on back, Lee. You popped out. Go ahead.
It's about when someone's on trial for their life, it's a serious situation. The thing about that is everything should be almost admissible in court. Judges can throw evidence out or they at their discretion. And see, when you're on trial for your freedom, I don't care if they got you in there for 6 months or 60 years, you're on trial for your freedom. There should be very little that's not admissible in court. It should be heard. It's evidence if they want to, if the lawyer for that defense wants to bring it in, it should be allowed. I mean, that situation was a very public trial. It was about a very public figure. They wanted to bring a conviction in. They would have brought a conviction in if the evidence was overwhelming. They had to suppress the evidence in order to get a conviction. And the thing about that is that we look at cases like that, we give it a lot of attention because it may be someone, a celebrity, such as that case is. It had a celebrity which was involved, and they were going to bring back a conviction no matter what. And plus, that took place in the South. I think it was North Carolina, but anywhere that's the South. You know, so, and they're more severe toward our colored people, our kind of people, our people of our color. And that's the thing we got to understand. When they convict one of us for a crime like that, they convict all of us. See, we thinking that it's just indiscretion where they just picking one individual, say, oh man, that's sad. No, when they convict one of us of a crime that we did not do, that's like convicting all of us. Because then when that policeman and that law enforcement officer see you driving down the street, he says, well, I can stop him or her and I don't have any repercussions. I could be wrong for stopping them, wrong for shooting them, wrong for unaliving them, and they don't have any kind of consequences that's going to make them think better about doing what they're doing. And that's what I have to say.
It's interesting. I said what I said, that we have, you know, when it comes down to famous people, and I know that we have our favorite people that we follow, we listen to, and so forth and so on. It was said, I don't know if you heard about this, but if you have, I wanted you to elaborate on if you heard this about this situation, that there was some gambling or there was some other deeds that his son was involved in. And then I don't like to get into conspiracies, but you know, all of that necromancy and that stuff that people do. Had you heard anything about the ties to his Mr. Jordan's son, Michael? Have you heard anything as far as maybe the cause of this unaliving happening to his father because he had gambling debts or something like that?
Yeah, that was the assumption of everyone. They felt like it was because of Michael and his gambling, and somebody retaliated against his father. But it also was supposed to be that he was supposed to be getting robbed. You never really got the real story of what was going on. But regardless of what it was, like Lee said, he's a celebrity. And sometimes when you're a celebrity, you get more privileges than the normal average person does. And so, yeah, they're going to, convict you by any means necessary. So if they could put you in the place of the crime or think you had something to do with it, or whatever the case is, they're going to bring that evidence against you to try to get you convicted. And that's exactly what they did. Even if they have to skirt around the law and not follow the right procedures, which they do all the time. It's a lot of times they have evidence that they keep from the defense. And so they have all kind of trickery up their sleeves in order to convict people. And sometimes knowingly that, that person could be innocent, but they don't care. They just want the numbers.
I wanted to tell Penelope that we were talking about the unalivement of Michael Jordan's father. And what happened was the judge in the case of the convictions of one of the two gentlemen had evidence that was withheld that probably would not have convicted the young man. And now the judge is petitioning the authorities in North Carolina to let this individual go because he more than likely is not the person that did the unalivement. But it was just interesting to us how we look at things in the celebrity that you look at, and the everyday person doesn't get the attention that people that have notoriety do get. I agree with that wholeheartedly, because there are people that are missing, young men and women across this country that have been trafficked, that have been snatched, and people of color. But if you hear about, and I'm not saying this in a prejudiced manner, but Caucasian people get more attention than people of color do about various situations. And I'm not saying this because this young man is African American, but it's only right. If you can't listen to the judge is telling you somebody needs to open up an investigation. And I think that this is a good call for the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department to step in about this incarceration. That's probably it's wrongful incarceration, if you want to put it. There's another word, I can't find it, but It was many years ago that his father was unalive. There's something else that I was brought privy to, and I wanted to bring up. I wanted to talk about infrastructure in the state of Mississippi. There was a situation that happened, a brief situation that we're going to talk about. We have a video of it. And do you know that Mississippi has a surplus of billions? I don't have the accurate number, but they have a surplus. And the reason that they have a surplus here in this region and in the state of Mississippi is because of the federal government and Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan money that was sent to help communities in the state of Mississippi. But there's some serious things that's happening with the infrastructure in this region, and I just want to bring this up right quick before we go to our second break.
Breaking news, at least 3 people are dead, 4 injured after a bridge collapsed in Mississippi. Authorities say the bridge over the Strong River about 40 miles south of Jackson had been in the process of being demolished. It gave way this afternoon while crews worked at the site. Mississippi Department of Transportation says the bridge has been closed to traffic since September 18th amid a replacement project.
Now, the reason that I brought that up was because, and I want to thank our chief correspondent for bringing this to my attention, is because there is money, and they were already working at this site. They were already dismantling the bridge, so forth and so on. I don't know how Chicago got this before the Mississippi media, even myself, how this slipped under the radar. But thank you to WGN, our sister media stations that give us information and news, accurate information and news from that region. We want to thank them for that clip. But also, I wanted to bring up the fact of the matter is there is a surplus that they have. There is money that's there for roads, for bridges, for everything. And like I said, the people that you elect into office are very, very important. And you say, why you keep harping on this? It's because it's true. A lot of people don't know what's going on or how their government operates in the state of Mississippi. They don't know how appropriations is done. They don't know how the money trickles down and what is done, who's responsible for distributing the funds necessary that come. The federal government sends a lot of money to the state of Mississippi because there's no tax base, quote unquote, or they're broke. Mississippi is not broke. Let me say it again. I'll say it again for the people way in the Delta. Mississippi is not broke. But funds are being withheld and being directed in different places because of lack of representation, not stepping up to the plate saying something. Now, there's some great representatives that are really doing their job. There are a lot of great ones that are doing their jobs, but then there's a lot of them that are not doing their job and that are just letting these cities and these towns just crumble, places where people still live, senior citizens, people that are not able to just pack up and move like others. They're still there suffering with bad water, bad roads, bad bridges, bad protection, and you got all this surplus sitting here. If they just took $500 million to help the Delta of Mississippi, do you know what $500 million would do for the Mississippi Delta? I wish somebody that I had on here that knew anything about it. You would be amazed at what would happen. But take a tour. Let's look and let's see what's happening. I'm going to do that and take my camera and I'm just going to go down and just show you myself what's going on. But I said what I said, and Brother Lee, I brought the emphasis on this is because it just aches me to see how people are being treated, and they don't have to be treated this way. And that's why I'm just emphasizing on the fact of election. So yeah, either one of y'all can take that.
Well, you don't want to discuss it on the other side of the break.
Yes, I do. I said, listen, this is WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. This is the Magman Morning Show. Y'all forgive me for overrunning my time. I'm right at 50. We're going to be back right after these important messages that we're going to have, and we want you to just please pay close attention to them.
First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch, yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do, okay y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws, they the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court costs. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't wanna tell you this, they want you to focus on the president.
America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back.
I don't know about you, but I'm not going back. If you're not going back, vote Diane Black. Again, if you're not going back, vote Diane Black for U.S. Representative, 1st Congressional District of Mississippi.
November 5th, 2024. Vote Diane Black.
Paid for by friends of Diane Black.
If your locks ain't right and your twist is on limp, you know. Get over to Keisha Studio. Specialized in locks, natural hair, and extensions. When your hair needs that special attention, make Keisha Studios your next decision. Located 3964 Goodman Road E, Suite 122 in South Haven, Mississippi. Call 901-650-9487 for your appointment at Keisha Studios. You know.
You know, we're going to have a good time on November the 5th. Y'all, we ought to go to Reds and just have a good time and celebrate. I just believe that things are going to work out during election time. But I got to emphasize this, folks. Listen, Diane Black, our next congresswoman from the state of Mississippi, needs your assistance and needs your help. We need people on the ground, those of you that have relatives in Mississippi that are available to help, that are in the 1st Congressional District. Ask your relatives what congressional district they're in. If they're in the 1st Congressional District, please tell them to go to Diane Black for Congress at gmail.com. That's Diane Black for Congress at gmail.com. We're trying to help her as much as possible. Listen, folks, she can win this race. I heard what the opponents have said. I've heard what people were talking about. I've heard this, that, and the other. But do you know we're really, really close to we really can do it. A race can be won by 1 point. Whoever gets the most votes win, and every vote counts. And folks, get out and go now. If you are not going to be able to vote in the state of Mississippi on election day, you know you're going to be gone. Go to your county courthouses and absentee vote. Your vote will already be there. You ain't got to worry about nothing. All you have to do is find out where the celebrations are. We're rooting for Diane Black, the next Congresswoman from the state of Mississippi. I really do believe that in my heart. Oh, and tomorrow, let us not forget tomorrow, we got a very special guest and we have a very special interview, exclusive interview with someone right there on the inside. That's on the inside of Dalton. Y'all know about old Mayor Tiffany Henyard. We're going to talk a little bit about her. But our special guest on Friday will be Trustee Kiana Belcher. She will be coming on the Magman Morning Show all day. She's going to be very candid. Answer if you have any questions. We're asking that you go to magmedia3@gmail.com. And if you want a question specifically that you want to you want us to ask, please make sure you let us know it's a question for the trustee. In the chat, you can ask questions in the chat. I don't know if we'll have an opportunity to have any participants, but if you have questions, we're taking the questions from the chat also. Let your friends, let your relatives know. Like and subscribe to our page so that you can get the latest updates on when we go live and when we have certain messages. Please be there on Friday. Listen, as we were talking and discussing the situations with the various stories that we've been talking about, it leads me to believe that we have some serious problems on our hand. And I was on the other side here. I said what I said. I don't know where my place was right here. I think I lost it because I switched over to something. Well, I was supposed to play the video. Which one was that? I missed something. If you could assist me.
Okay, let me find a video that I know which one you're speaking of. So
okay, if you can, y'all forgive me for that. I usually don't lose that place. I just got to do a little bit better with the equipment. I'm just looking down here now if you can find it. But yes, we have, there's a lot of things going on and we're going to have to get out and vote. Mississippi, you got to get out there and vote. We're trying to get in touch with some people and that they're going to make, thank you. I said what I said. And as we get ready to go into this next phase, I'll tell you why we got something special coming on the other side. Go ahead.
So besides the presidential race, take a wild guess how many other races are happening in Mississippi this November. Just take a wild guess. Was it 442? Because there's 442. Seems like whenever we talk about a challenge we're facing here in Mississippi or an issue of corruption, over half the comments from people out of state are saying, well, you get what you vote for. And I'm not going to make an excuse for that because, in a way, they are right. Nobody in Mississippi is in charge without us letting them be in charge. But I would make one change, because it's not so much who we're voting for, it's the fact that we're not voting. For example, it recently came out that Representative Trey Lamar was funneling millions of taxpayer dollars into his country club and surrounding neighborhoods there. Most of us, however, never see him on the ballot. In fact, less than 0.5% of the Mississippi population elected him to office, and he's making decisions for the entire state. But even when it comes to statewide elections, the results are very similar. When Governor Tate Reeves was elected this previous election, he was elected by just 13% of our population. Mayor Lumumba in Jackson was voted in by just 9% of the city's population. Historically, Mississippi's just not that great at showing up to vote. I love our state, but this is a weakness of ours. Voter apathy seems to be our biggest issue, but we also make it fairly difficult to vote here. We have issues with gerrymandering, we run out of ballots, we change our polling locations a lot, sometimes without even giving notice, and we have over 50,000 people that are banned from voting in the state from our disenfranchisement laws. This is what's causing all the noise in the background. We also don't make it that easy to register to vote here. You either have to go in person or you have to print out the registration form, fill it out, and mail it in. There are no digital options available. And yes, I already know the comments are coming that say if it really meant something to you, you'd go the extra step of registering by mail. And most people here do. But making something purposefully more difficult than it has to be isn't really a great strategy. For example, it means a lot to me to visit my dad back in Pennsylvania, but I'd probably still do it a whole lot less if I had to walk instead of drive. The other issue we run into is that here in Mississippi, we tend to ignore the bottom half of the ballot. That's the local candidates below the presidential races and the statewide races. But these are the people that are going to have the most impact on our lives. For example, we have folks running for our state Supreme Court, and our state Supreme Court has some huge impacts on our life. We have people running for election commissioner, and we saw in Hinds County last year just what happens when election commissioners aren't prepared. And it's very important that we get competent people in there because we know already that the Secretary of State is not going to step in to help if something goes wrong. We have judges on the ballot. If you or a loved one winds up in court, these are the folks that you're going to be facing. Or if somebody commits a crime against you, these are the folks that decide their future. Things in Mississippi are never really going to change until we actually start showing up on election day, both for our primaries and for our statewide elections. We may not be voting the troublemakers into office, but we're not doing a whole lot to keep them out. Now, I can't cover all 442 races that are going to be on the ballot this November, but you can research those at places like ballotready.org and other similar websites. Just put in your zip code, they'll tell you exactly who's running in your area. And even if your candidate doesn't win, your vote still serves like a poll response or a survey answer, telling those in charge that you are there, you are engaged, and if at any point they stop representing the will of the people, you're ready to take action.
And we're grateful for the this wonderful video by B.Y. Britt. B.Y. Britt on I think that was that TikTok he was on? Yeah. Shared that with us and with our chief correspondent. Listen, he said it all. And this is a person that does not look like me, a Caucasian gentleman that's telling you what I've been telling you all along. I guess I hadn't gotten it across to you. We got a serious problem here. I'm emphasizing this here in this state about getting out to vote. The vast majority of voters in the state of Mississippi are African American. The majority of the voters, registered voters. There are more elected African American elected officials in Mississippi than any other state in the union. There are more mayors, representatives, senators, so forth and so on in there. So they're in government. We can't say they're not in government. Something somewhere is going wrong with people sitting still in the Delta. Let's go to the Delta. That's the western part, the northwestern part of the state of Mississippi. The Delta where the rich land is and where most of the cotton and stuff was grown and most of the big old plantations. And they were making plenty of money back then. But now they have abandoned this place and they displaced and left people there. People that look like me that are there. That are living and trying to make the living as best as possible, driving miles and miles to go to work just to keep themselves above ground. And they're making all kinds of investments all around the state of Mississippi, but they're forgetting about the Delta in Mississippi. Now, I'm not against capital enterprise. I'm not against people doing what they do. But when this came up to me, it opened my eyes to one, everybody that does not look like us is not against us. Can I say that one more time for the folks in the back row? People that do not look like black people does not mean that if they don't look like us, does not mean that they are against us. There were a lot of people of different persuasions in the civil rights movement, black, white, Hispanics, Asian. There were many different people that helped us. It were many people of Caucasian persuasion that helped the civil rights movement by driving civil rights workers. You couldn't drive a car. You couldn't be in a car with a Caucasian woman driving her, or she's driving you. You had to sit in the back. You couldn't sit up front with her in the South. So that's just a little lesson in civil rights. But coming to this part, this man said, look, we're ignoring the bottom of the ballot. We're ignoring it totally. We forget we needed Congress to go with the new president. She needs to have some help in Congress to get the things passed, like the $50,000 to help small businesses, and the down payments of $25,000 helping first time buyers to get some of these nice houses that they putting up and some that they've left. Yeah, it's going to take a Congress. So that's why I was saying about Diane Black and about others that are on the ballot. And it comes back to, look at this man came on here and told the truth. So let's dispel the racism that we do have. All people that are Caucasians are not Republican, and all of them are not for the foolishness that's going on. I had to say that because sometimes we get it wrong, saying that it's people, the Caucasian people are doing this. No, we have a responsibility also. I said what I said. I had my piece on this here, and I wanted you all, you and Brother Lee, to expound further upon what's going on. And I'm not going to say whether I'm wrong or right. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, it sounds like that. Like he said, nobody is really voting in Mississippi hardly, no matter what color they are. And if they continue to stay at home, then everything is going to continue to stay the same. And those margins that the governor won by 9%, only 9% of the people, that's a very low margin for him to be a governor. And it kind of sounds like Ms. Henyard over there in Dalton. She didn't have that many people that voted her in, but you can see, it doesn't take that many people to put you in office. And so if you can slip in there, then that's how a lot of people get in office. So it's very important. If you want your voice to be heard and you won't change, then you have to make change yourself. Otherwise, everything is going to stay the same.
Brother Lee?
Well, I would say the same. I would say that, yeah, you got to get out there and vote. Yeah, anybody can come up with a reason why they, shouldn't lose weight or should get a better job or should take better care of the kids. You can come up with a lot of excuses and a lot of excuses why you shouldn't vote. It's not that you got good reasons. It's just that you're too lazy. You just don't think it makes a difference. But it makes a difference every day. You drive down the road, you can't hit a pothole. Actually, there's no road there for you to go down because they didn't build one, or the schools don't look the way you like, and you wonder why your kids getting the lunches that they getting, or lack of good food, decent food, or decent books, or you don't have a grocery store in your community. And here's the thing, I would say the politicians that are in office that you do that does their job and they do a good one, they have a responsibility to let their community know the situations out there that they're not voting. They got to say, if they're saying it, then they're saying it in a way it's not reaching the people. And you don't do the same thing expecting a better outcome. If what your message is not working, come up with a different kind of message. Come up with a way that you say you can connect with the people. You can't keep saying, I keep saying the same thing, they don't listen. Well, stop saying the same thing and say something that'll connect with the people. It's politicians that are in office that we appreciate, but they're not doing their complete job as far as letting people know that, we only won by 2 votes or 10 votes, or 96% of the people stayed at home. They got to let them know. You got to get people excited. Dr. King got people excited. Malcolm X got people excited and motivated and out there in them streets. Black Lives Matter got young people, old people excited about getting out there, taking care of their community and being responsible and getting these things done. You got to do things a different way. Just shaking your hand, wringing your hands and saying, oh my goodness, it's bad. Do something. Don't do the same thing. It's not working. That's what I have to say.
Right. You're listening to WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. This is the MacMan Morning Show. I'm James Mack. We're having a really interesting conversation, and there's a lot of comments that are in the chat that I'm really looking at. And The facts of the matter is this, people, it matters who we elect in office. It matters. Sitting down is not going, your problems or our problems are not going to go away if we just sit down and just let them happen. We got to get out and do something. Folks, they have a plan. This Project 2025 falls right into this. If they can discourage you, if they can keep you mad or upset enough or boo enough to stay at home and not vote, they have succeeded in what they're doing. They don't want a heavy turnout like they got in Atlanta. They don't want a heavy turnout like they got in Chicago or in Shelby County close to us, or all of the almost 60,000, 65,000 ballots that's been cast in one Mississippi county already. And they almost got about almost 50,000 of them back. People are voting, yes, but there's still some slack in the state of Mississippi. They got rid of the flag. We ain't worried about that. But we want equality. We want those lead pipes out of the ground. We want better roads, better opportunities for the public school system and the community college system, the trade school system, to get you got the workforce here. We got to get them motivated enough to go forth in these spectacular, miraculous, and beautiful and so gracious that these companies have come to the state of Mississippi, Milwaukee and Amazon and all of these places have come together. And Amazon has a business center that they're getting a $10 billion investment in the state of Mississippi, where they say that they broke. Somebody's coming down here to do some business. We need not just a slice of the pie, but we need an opportunity to make our own pie. And what I'm looking at here, and here's a Caucasian gentleman saying this. He's saying this. Listen, you got to you believe it or not, the people that are in office in these offices control the dollars. They control the Congress controls the purse of the United States of America. Why not have Diane Black at the table getting our share of the bag? Can I get a witness? Anybody, somebody. And the man is telling us, your judges, your sons get pulled over by the rotten police in Lexington, Mississippi. And the police pull you over, whoop you, and take your money, or whatever the case may be, trump charges up on you to get over on you. You can't get out of jail until you pay the fine. You're going to be sitting here weeks and weeks. People aren't going to know where you are. We're going to do all kinds of harm to you. If it wasn't for the federal government and the Congress that gives them the money, and the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department money enough to do what they do, I said what I said, to investigate these rogue polices and things like that. I want somebody at the table that's going to give me some chicken and not just give me no cream of wheat every day. I don't want to eat mush 7 times a day or 3 times a day. I like a little chicken, some peas or something, some dumplings, something. Let me have some. Let me get a part of this pie, Mississippi. Yeah, and you hollering that you broke. I said what I said. Please help me to understand the discretions that people have in the state of Mississippi about not voting from your end.
Well, that takes me into the topic for today for the Project 2025. And so all of that you just talked about.
I'm sorry for that, but yes, ma'am, go ahead. A little bit over if you have to. Go ahead, help yourself.
Well, you're not going to get any of that if they get if they get their way. The following agencies that we've enjoyed for the last 50 years will be eliminated. And if you haven't heard about Project 2025, I implore you to go to Google and Google it, and it'll give you a narrowed down version of how this plan is going to affect you. We realize that it's gonna their goal is what they say the goal is restoring the family as the centerpiece of American life. So what they're planning on doing is dismantling the administrative state, defend the nation's sovereignty and borders, securing God's given individual rights to live freely, and the main goal is to seek place for the federal government for the president at the executive branch. They want the executive branch to control the DOJ, the FBI, the FCC, the Federal Communications Department and the Federal Trade Commission. And so what they're basically doing is trying to get the president broad presidential power as if he was a king. And we, all of us say that we don't want kings. Well, that's what Project 2025 is we're going to have a king instead of a president. So I ran across this information, and I come to the conclusion, and this is just my opinion, not WKRA or James or Lee or anybody. It's just my opinion. I feel like they came up with Project 2025 because in the last 9 elections, 43 states voted for the same party 7 times or more. So basically, whatever party that you've been voting for, people are not making any changes on which side that they vote for. They're keeping their same party affiliations. In 2023, the single parent household reached the lowest since 1977. And of the registered voters, 47 have declared a party affiliation as of September 2024. Now, we have 36 million voters that are registered Republican, but we have 45.1 million voters that are registered Democrats, and that number is growing. 1 in 3 Americans are enrolled in at least one government program, and that's the statistic from 2022. And Americans are more likely to use news media as sources, but they're less likely to trust them at this point. And the biggest factor is the non-white population has nearly doubled since 1990 to over 40% in 2023. And the population of non-Hispanic whites decreased from 75% to 58%. And that's of 160 and of 169 million workers in the United States, you have more than 32 million that are immigrants, which will be over 19% in the workforce. And with these statistics and with these numbers, I really feel like that's what the urgency is for Project 2025, especially the part of the population. And I got this information from the Census Bureau, from the Wikipedia, the Census Bureau portion of it. And so, as I suspected early on when I heard about Project 2025, and I've stated several times, I feel like that they want this Project 2025 because they're not the dominant race anymore, and they see that America is more diverse, and that's what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent America from being so diverse, and that's what these abortion laws are about, and all of these other crazy laws that they've implemented in the last 4 or 5 years. Well, I say the last 8 years since Trump came on the scene. The Heritage Foundation has been working tirelessly for the last 50 years to eliminate abortion, because I guess they saw that coming a long time ago. And I'm pretty sure they could see it coming, because in the 60s and 70s, non-Hispanic white women had decreased the family. They wasn't having that many children, but the other races were producing a lot of kids. And so they saw this coming. And so they came up with this plan so that they can try to repopulate the earth with non-Hispanic white people. And so that's my conclusion for this Project 2025. And Lee and James, y'all can go ahead and elaborate on it.
Well, we run out of time. We run out of time, and we will hopefully have to come back on sometime next week to finish that part of our report. But we thank you for that wonderful report. Listen, you all, we have a wonderful day planned on tomorrow. We have a very special guest that's going to be coming on the Magman Morning Show. Trustee Kiana Belcher. Kiana Belcher, trustee for the town and the village of Dalton, is going to be our exclusive guest for exclusive interview by our panel. And we're rooting for them over there. And we want to let you know, please tune in. It's going to be a wonderful show. Please remember Diane Black. Once again, remember Diane Black. Go to Diane Black forcongress@gmail.com to get more information on her. And we're going to just continue to do everything that we can to root for her and all of those that are on the Democratic ticket that are running for the betterment of our country to help us save democracy. I'm James Mack. I'm your man on the street. I'm here every weekday, 9 o'clock until 10:20 here on WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. Until tomorrow, for everyone here at the McMahon Morning Show, Dr. J, I said what I said, and Brother Lee, we appreciate you, and Brother Ryan, our social media editor. I'm James Mack. We'll see you on tomorrow.
It's a Mac Main Morning Show. It's a Mac Man Morning Show. It's a Mac Main Morning Show. It's a Mac Man Morning Show.
Sitting at home or you in your car. It's a Mac Man Morning Show. No matter if you get far. It's a Mac Man Morning Show. You better tune in quick or you might just miss. It's a Mac Man Morning Show. The best show this side of the sea. It's the Mac Man Morning Show.
It's a Mac Main Morning Show. It's a Mac Man Morning Show. It's a Mac Main Morning Show. It's a Mac Man Morning Show. It's a Mac Main Morning Show.